there's been a lot of talk in horse media, and particularly in Swedish horse media, following publication of video and photos from Falsterbo and other places, about the ethics of taking pictures and putting them on social media. And some people have been out saying, if you see something, you should talk to the steward. You shouldn't take pictures and put them on the internet. What would you say to that?
But this is kind of why I thought it was interesting to film the stewards this year as well, because in a way what I was doing was to go and say, hey, you know, we're all talking about nosebands, we're interested in nosebands. It's not such a small irrelevant detail. It's a very important thing. Because by filming and asking to film, I'm actually saying that that noseband does not look like you could get 2 fingers in it. And you can see on the footage, you can't get 2 fingers in it. So as far as I'm concerned, I have gone and informed the stewards, and they didn't really do anything, and it's documented, so it's going to be really interesting to see then what people will make of that. So I'm standing there, and I see that they're doing the noseband checks, and I think, yes, I'm actually very interested in the noseband checks, and I quite quickly also try to be quite friendly with them. I'm standing with my camera, and they kind of noticed, and so I can see that they're probably wondering what on earth is he doing, because I think after last year's Helgestrand, everyone is expecting that loads of photographers are going to be, or people are going to be interested in photographing the horses, but of course no one is expecting the stewards to be photographed and scrutinised. So I thought I was quite polite in asking them, and they quite willingly said, yes, we can show you a noseband check. But as soon as she puts her fingers down on the side here, I'm like, there's one steward showing me this, which I'm filming, and then I have another steward next to me who has been doing all the noseband checks until then. She had done it in a different way, so I just asked them, how come you're doing it in different ways? Then she says, try to do it on the nose, which doesn't work. I think this is really wonderful, actually, because you can look at her face and you can see she's smiling, and she's vaguely embarrassed by the fact that she cannot get her fingers down. And they also kind of very quickly move away from the fact that they were doing it differently from each other. So we find out later, of course, that they haven't been given instructions, so it's pretty much up to themselves how they do it. Anyway, then we have quite a long dialogue where various things come up, and it's recorded. Most of it, I believe, what I'm going to say is recorded, so it can be verified there. But they have no instructions on how to do it. When I commented that the noseband seemed to me to be quite tight, they said that the horse was opening his mouth. So I said, okay, but surely you can do the check when it's not opening its mouth. And then they said, yeah, but as soon as you start putting your fingers down, it opens its mouth. It has an opening reflex, I think they say. So I'm like, that's a little bit inconvenient, having a sort of opening reflex when you try to put your fingers down. Are you actually saying that you can't do the noseband check then? Now, obviously, if you are going to be doing a lot of these noseband checks, and a lot of these horses are quite stressed when they're coming out and they are chewing, yeah, you're not going to want to put your fingers down there unless you've got a really, really loose noseband. So it's actually, I think, quite irresponsible to ask people to be putting their fingers down unless you're going to have people breaking their fingers, because if you put your fingers down and it gets stuck and the horse throws his head up, well, you're in trouble. So I think it's actually quite irresponsible of the FEI to even want stewards to be putting fingers down in the noseband. I mean, it's not probably up to some sort of health and safety standard. And then they also start talking about, yeah, but it's different, you know, their finger sizes are different, so it means different things. But it all sort of boils down to that you have to have a sort of a general look of how tight the noseband is, which I think is why they go into this then gesture of doing a little bit of that and then stroking and all of that. But they avoided 2 fingers straight down. And then we also had a very fun incident here, because I don't know if this would have happened if, unfortunately it's very badly filmed, but I don't know if this would have happened if they didn't know that I was filming every horse. But But a horse is coming out of the arena. Again, it's one of these horses you assume would not be one you could get much fingers down, the noseband. And the groom tries to loosen the noseband, but they do actually scream out. So there you heard the steward shouting, "No, no, don't loosen." And it is very interesting that the groom here, as soon as she could come to the horse, was throwing herself over the noseband to try to loosen it. And it's very unusual. I've never seen it at Falsterbo. I've been a regular for 10 years and I've never seen a noseband check at Falsterbo, and I'm standing by the warm-up always, and I've also been to a lot of international shows. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We don't know, whether that groom normally does that or if it was because of the stewards, I don't know. But here we can see close-ups of the horse's noseband and the bits. But the horse does appear to, most of the time have his mouth open. Here we can see the skin being pulled up by the noseband. Then they start getting a bit more hostile towards me. I thought I was quite pally actually with one of the stewards, but then they start, I think there's some other official coming that has been questioning what I am doing, and then one of them actually does ask why I'm filming, and I just say I'm freelance, which is actually perfectly true, because at that stage I don't really know how the material is going to be presented. As far as I'm concerned, I'm just gathering material. So I don't know if you can see that there, but she basically just strokes up. She never attempts even to get her fingers under. She's just sort of prizing the noseband off the nose. So with that one I thought was rather interesting, because if you look, he's actually got padding under his noseband. So her fingertips are just barely sort of being just prized beneath. To me then it seems like suddenly there's always a lot of stewards between the camera and the horse. That was towards the end of the day. The following day, they actually, as soon as I turn up, they more or less move where they're doing the noseband checks, so that I can't film them very easily. They had their reasons for moving them, but I did think it was rather strange that every horse was checked quite far away from where my camera seemed to be. That was another point. I can see that the stewards actually do have a problem, because a lot of these horses are actually quite head shy and they're quite stressed when they are coming out. But I think it would be really brilliant if actually riders just simply jumped off their horse and put their 2 fingers down the noseband. That's what I would really like to see.